Well, his wings were finally clipped. After being barred by 6 airlines, India Today found out that the Shiv Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad took a train to Mumbai. The Member of Parliament was caught on camera assaulting a 60-year-old Air India staffer. Sadly, he remained unrepentant. He defended his appalling assault on a senior citizen and an employee of Air India, now banned not just by Air India, by 5 other airlines. He was cut down to size and forced to take the August Kranti Express to Mumbai. Look at these images. I'll tell you more about this story. And there you see images sheepishly, Ravindra Gaikwad now taking a train to Mumbai, folding hands, telling India Today correspondents that you finally caught me. Listen into him. I'll tell you more about the story.
रविंद्र गायकवाड़ साहब,
सर एयरलाइंस का एपिसोड हुआ सर, उसके लिए कुछ कहना है सर?
सॉरी
सर, कुछ कहना चाहिए उस मामले में सर?
उसके ऊपर उद्धव जी ठाकरे,
सर एयरलाइंस ने प्रतिबंध लगाया सर आपके ऊपर सर एयरलाइंस के?
उद्धव साहब जी ठाकरे बताएंगे या अनिल जी देसाई बताएंगे। मैं कुछ
सर, लेकिन ऐसी क्या वजह है कि आपको एयरलाइंस के अलावा ट्रेन में सफर तय करना पड़ रहा है?
रवि लगा देगा
सर, कोई तो प्रतिक्रिया दीजिए, अपने आप में बहुत गंभीर मुद्दा है।
बात करेंगे ना,
कुछ भी
कोई तो अपनी कोई प्रतिक्रिया तो देंगे सर।
हल्की सी बता
आज तक कहाँ है?
जी सभी है यहाँ पे,
सभी यहीं पर है सर, सभी
यहीं पे है।
अरे उसने तो लगाया मेरे को अटैक आया बोल के, चेस्ट पेन हो रहा है बोल के। अभी न्यूज मैं बात करता हूँ, जा चलो। थोड़ा होता है क्या मेरे को कुछ इज्जत है क्या?
चलो चलो
थोड़ा बात लगाता है क्या? अरे कोई भी हो यार, चलो सर, चलो जाओ बाहर, चलो। ओए पुलिस निकालो बाहर, जाओ। ऐसा थोड़े होता है यार, मेरे वाले बॉम्ब मारे, मेरे चेस्ट पेन हुआ बोल के। अरे यार जानो तुम, जब वो मना कर रहे हैं कोई झगड़ा निकालेगा क्या अभी? हाँ भी ठीक है,
चलो चलो,
थैंक यू सर।
India Today's Dev Ankur Vadhavan now joins me for more on the story. Dev, tell us, how did you trace this MP of the Shiv Sena? Initially, he said, he bragged that he is going to board the Air India flight to Mumbai at 4 p.m. and he said, if I'm stopped, I will protest. But Air India went on record to say they're cancelling his ticket. Indigo Airlines refused to fly him. We are told several other airlines said he's being put on a no-fly list. Then what happened, Dev?
There's got to be that the force of it's very clear that after that agreement that folded in the airline, the had banned it, that he will not be allowed to fly with them, and thereafter, I think the story is verify to take the national capital. We did get to know that he will be traveling via the August Kranti Express after the airline mentioned that he will not be allowed to fly with them. It was clear that he will this particular route, the route that this particular August Kranti Express, the one that travels from Swai and then to Sena. So every basically had our representatives strategically placed to ensure that we're able to catch hold of him. It was very apparent, it is not very forthcoming, and he clearly mentioned that it will be without happen. The party chief of Sena that will be signed on this ground. So after clearly attacking in India is going on board, now he has to cut off, he has been caught red-handed.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to take a minute and we'll try and reestablish that audio link with you in just a moment. But for benefit of viewers joining us, look at these images. This is Ravindra Gaikwad traveling on board the August Kranti Express to Mumbai. This after not one, not two, but 6 airlines refused to let him fly. They said he's a danger to passenger safety. He's also a danger apparently to other airlines employees, but he was then forced to travel on board this August Kranti Express. Let's listen in to what transpired on board the train.
रविंद्र गायकवाड़ साहब,
सर एयरलाइंस का एपिसोड हुआ सर, उसके लिए कुछ कहना है सर?
सॉरी
सर कुछ कहना चाहिए उस मामले में सर?
उसके ऊपर उद्धव जी ठाकरे,
सर एयरलाइंस ने प्रतिबंध लगाया सर आपके ऊपर सर एयरलाइंस के?
वो उद्धव साहब जी ठाकरे बताएंगे या अनिल जी देसाई बताएंगे। मैं कुछ
सर लेकिन ऐसी क्या वजह है कि आपको एयरलाइंस के अलावा ट्रेन में सफर तय करना पड़ रहा है?
रवि लगा देगा
सर कोई तो प्रतिक्रिया दीजिए, अपने आप में बहुत गंभीर
वो
मुद्दा है।
बात करेंगे ना।
कुछ भी
कोई
अगर
तो अपनी कोई प्रतिक्रिया तो देंगे सर।
हल्की सी बता
आज
दीजिए।
तक कहाँ है?
जी सभी है यहाँ
सभी यहीं पर सर, सभी
यहीं
यहीं
पे
पे।
है।
अरे उसने तो लगाया मेरे को अटैक आया बोल के, चेस्ट पेन हो रहा है बोल के अभी न्यूज मैं बात करता हूँ। जा चलो, थोड़ा होता है क्या मेरे को कुछ इज्जत है क्या?
चलो चलो
थोड़ा
बात लगाता है क्या? अरे कोई भी हो यार, चलो चलो जाओ बाहर चलो। ओए पुलिस निकालो बाहर जाओ। ऐसा थोड़े होता है यार, मेरे वाले बॉम्ब मारे मेरे चेस्ट पेन हुआ बोल के।
आप अपनी
अरे यार जानो तुम,
जब वो मना कर रहे हैं
बाहर
चलो
निकलो,
आ जाओ
चलो कोई झगड़ा निकालेगा क्या अभी? हाँ भी
ठीक है, चलो भाई आ जाओ, चलो भाई चलो भाई चलो।
चलो अच्छी बात, थैंक यू सर।
And I want to bring in Jitendra Bhargav, former ED of Air India, into this conversation. Sir, he doesn't seem to have lost his arrogance. He misbehaved with Air India staffers on board that flight, misbehaved with journalists on board the train. But the bigger signal, several airlines, multiple airlines refused to fly him, Mr. Bhargav.
You know, it's been the most remarkable unity element that we have witnessed from all airlines. He bashed up one Air India employee and every airline has reacted. Now, this is a remarkable thing in aviation history, I would say. Never before have we seen all airlines uniting. You remember recently FIA opposing entry of AirAsia, Air Vistara. Now, collectively, all the airlines have come together, and this is something, and as I've been saying very clearly, it's an outcome of the outrage on this incident. He's bragging on television, media repeatedly showing it, and that is what is happening. But he will probably learn in due course of time. Maybe the arrogant part is still there. Yesterday's lesson may not have sunk in. That's why he's behaving on the train today. But probably give him another 48 hours and I'm sure he'll be a mellowed person.
Mr. Bhargav, how long will this bar continue? Point one and point two. Morally it is correct. Legally, is it tenable, sir?
You see, if you look at the international thing, in the United States, you have rules where if you find $25,000, an extended jail term, and airlines can ban a passenger. Now, we haven't had this kind of an experience, so the law hasn't been tested, but I see no reason why a court will not uphold this ban, considering the fact that airlines reserve the right for a passenger. Just because you have bought a ticket does not entitle you to fly. There could be reason, as one of the CMDs of an airline very articulated on your channel, was that, look, if it threatens the safety of an aircraft or of passengers, we have a moral right to get to not take the passenger on board. I would stand by it. But in case somebody wants to test the law, so be it. But the fact is, it will have a salutary effect on people who have a tendency to misbehave on airlines.
Oh,
But this
absolutely.
is unlikely. This will be a major, major deterrent in my opinion.
Mr. Bhargav, stay with me for a moment. I also want to bring in Kanu Gohen, former Director General of Civil Aviation, into this conversation. Mr. Gohen, will this have an impact on other passengers? Will this stop them from being unruly on board an aircraft or misbehaving with airline staff?
Certainly, this will be a deterrent if it comes through. If it comes through, it will be a deterrent for such unruly passengers.
Because here is a lawmaker who was a lawbreaker, and what is worse, he was unapologetic. It wasn't just a heat of the moment thing.
Yeah.
Subsequently, even 24 hours later, he was unapologetic and he was bragging that I have hit him with my sandals 25 times and I will do it again. Mr. Gohen, what action should be taken against such a lawbreaker?
In such a situation, he should be a no-flyer for his lifetime. But this is not only in the aviation. He may go and repeat the same thing in some other locations, in some other areas. So people have to be careful how such people can be so, unapologetic, how can be so brazen about their acts of misbehavior. One cannot understand it. Something must be radically wrong with such individuals.
Oh, absolutely. This is unacceptable behavior. and Mr. Bhargav, also because such a behavior comes from a lawmaker. He's a member of parliament. Had this come from somebody in the heat of the moment, you can understand. But even 24 hours later, Mr. Bhargav, this gentleman was completely unapologetic about it, sir.
You see, let me put it this way. A, there have been instances of various customers, passengers, VVIPs misbehaving. Second is a person taking law in his hand and beating us. The third thing, bragging about it repeatedly and exaggerating, in my opinion, that this is what happened on the flight as if it was a great act of bravado on his part. Now, this is what has helped, created that kind of a feeling for him that nobody would really like to travel with him on a flight. Imagine if the airlines had not resorted to putting him on a no-fly list, how would a crew reacted if they saw him on a flight?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
just can't imagine that kind of a scenario. It's a very welcome decision that is being just taken off rather than create an ugly situation on board any flight of any airline in a country.
Mr. Gohain, is this no-fly list a new thing, and can this be made legal that people can be put on a no-fly list and then they are not allowed to fly on any airline across the country?
Yes, it can be made into a legal law. It can be translated into a law because, after all, the safety of the aircraft and the safety of the passengers therein is also equally important. To ensure the safety of the aircraft and the safety of the passengers therein, we can have this law made of a no-fly list of passengers who, when the background check is done, who are such violent, who have in the past exhibited such violent natures. They will certainly endanger the passengers in a flight. Supposing if it had happened in a flight, what would one say?
Oh, absolutely. And unfortunately, he remains unrepentant. Though he was sheepish initially, it barely took a spark for his anger to flare up. Mr. Bhargav, Mr. Gohain, stay with me for a moment for benefit of viewers who are just joining us. Let's listen in to Ravindra Gaikwad, this Shiv Sena member of parliament, and let's listen into what happened on board the Agast Kranti Express just about an hour ago.
एपिसोड हुआ था उसके लिए कुछ कहना है सर?
रविंद्र गायकवाड़ साहब,
सर एयरलाइंस का एपिसोड हुआ था उसके लिए कुछ कहना है सर? कुछ कहना चाहेंगे उस मामले में सर?
उसके ऊपर उद्धव जी ठाकरे,
सर एयरलाइंस ने प्रतिबंध लगाया सर आपके ऊपर सर एयरलाइंस के?
उद्धव साहब जी ठाकरे बताएंगे या अनिल जी देसाई बताएंगे। मैं कुछ
सर, लेकिन ऐसी क्या वजह है कि आपको एयरलाइंस के अलावा ट्रेन में सफर तय करना पड़ रहा है?
रवि लगा देगा
सर, कोई तो प्रतिक्रिया दीजिए, अपने आप में बहुत गंभीर मुद्दा है।
बात करेंगे ना,
कुछ भी
कोई तो अपनी कोई प्रतिक्रिया तो देंगे सर।
हल्की सी बता
आज
दीजिए।
तक कहाँ है?
जी सभी है यहाँ
सभी यहीं पर है सर, सभी
यहीं पे है।
अरे उसने तो लगाया मेरे को अटैक आया बोल के, चेस्ट पेन हो रहा है बोल के अभी न्यूज मैं बात करता हूँ। जा चलो, थोड़ा होता है क्या मेरे को कुछ इज्जत है क्या?
चलो
थोड़ा
बात लगाता है क्या? अरे कोई भी हो यार, चलो चलो जाओ बाहर, चलो पुलिस निकालो बाहर जाओ। ऐसा थोड़े होता है यार, मेरे वाले बॉम्ब मार रहे हैं, मेरे चेस्ट पेन हुआ बोल के। अरे यार जानो तुम, जब वो मना कर रहे हैं कोई झगड़ा निकालेगा क्या अभी? हाँ भी ठीक है,
चलो भाई आ जाओ, चलो भाई
थैंक यू सर।
He's now been put on a no-fly list. It remains to be seen how long does he remain on that list. We will continue to track developments on this story very closely. Mr. Bhargav and Mr. Gohain, for the moment, many thanks for joining me here.